How you doing? How's the day been?
Oh, we thank God everything is going well. Busy, busy day, but yes, it's
Yeah,
fine on your side.
it's been it's been a busy day indeed.
I'm telling
Welcome.
you.
So let's get into the conversation. So welcome everybody to today's conversation. We have been hosting talks around why the No Gadget Hangout matters, and we'll be exploring a bit of that today with our special guests. My name is Oluwatosin Olabode. I'm the founder of Doing Healthy Africa, a certified digital wellness educator and the curator of the No Gadget Hangouts. When people hear the No Gadget Hangouts, the first perspective is that it's an anti-tech movement, or we're telling people to reduce their tech usage, or we're telling people not to use technology. But that's not what the conversation is about. We are a movement that are promoting healthy tech usage. So we are anchoring our conversation on how can you use technology in a way that keeps you productive while avoiding the associated harm. We are building a culture of intentional people, a culture of deliberate people, a culture of people that are fully present in their engagements and in their interaction. So when you hear the No Gadget Hangouts, what you're essentially hearing is genuine friendship, genuine relationship, intentional conversations, void of digital distraction. And so we'll be going a little bit into that in a bit, but I want to welcome our guests. Jane, it's good to have you here. Please tell us a little bit about you.
So thank you, brother. Thank you, Oluwatosin. Thank you to all of those who are connected and following these conversations. So my name is Jean Désiré Kwasi. I'm based in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, the African Nation Cup winners, as you know. uh, so so it's actually a free discussion between Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire. So I'm a digital communication officer and youth engagement specialist. I'm also the founder of Be Digitwise, which is also a platform that advocates for digital literacy, digital entrepreneurship, and digital democracy, where we equip young people with skills that they need to thrive in this world who is getting more and more digitalized. So basically, that's what I do on the daily basis. So from work and also personal project is what I do. And I'm very glad to join this conversation with Oluwatosin. You are giving the opportunity today to talk about the No Gadget Hangout and how this, I would say, this lifestyle can be beneficial to everyone that can get into it. It's not just moving away or being far from gadget, but it's actually adopting some attitudes, some behavior that can help you use productively those tools.
Yeah, amazing. And it's important to remember that we are in an era where technology is ever evolving. There's hardly anything that you want to do right now that doesn't require one form of technology or the other. So the conversation about no tech is not even on the table because technology is evolving and we'll get more involved in it. But conversations like this are essential. Platforms like yours, DigiWise, Doing Healthy Africa, and some other amazing platforms that are out there promoting digital wellness. The essence of why they matter is because they are helping us stay within this tech space, but also flourishing digitally, also being able to build balance between our online and our offline lives. So the first question that I would like to ask you today is, how can individuals strike a balance between productive tech use and the need to disconnect for mental and physical health? We've been talking about how we are not a non-tech movement, but we're talking about productivity. So how can people strike a balance between productive tech use and the need to disconnect for mental and physical health?
So most of the time, I think people when they hear about disconnect, they see like I'm very far from technology. Like I put boundaries, I completely go like completely off from technologies. But this is not completely the fact. I believe that individuals can have a balance in the way that yeah, you have to set time limit. For example, with iPhones and I think any other phone now, you have the opportunity to set the limit of time you want to spend on any social media. And that's what I do for my phone, for example. I would dedicate, for example, let's say in the day, since I work on digital platforms, so after maybe 7 p.m. or 9 p.m. or 10 p.m., depending on the day, I'm completely off social media. So people should have this habit, the way they relate to technology. This, I think, like, is the kind of relationship that you have with technology, where you set the foundation, the boundaries, the things you should do, the things you should not do. It's like
Yeah.
a loving relationship. There are things you allow, there are things you should not allow. So you don't have to let phones take control of yourself in the way that
Mm.
without your phone you panic, without your phone,
Yeah.
without your computer you completely sick. I know some people, and I've been one of them. I can testify that uh, in 2020, like 2020, 2021, 2022, it was very hard for me to be far from my phone. It was very hard for me to be far from my phone. But from 2022, I decided to turn off all my notifications. So from now
Mm.
on, except I am in WhatsApp, or maybe I am on Facebook, I can see someone commenting or tagging me on something. It was hard in the beginning because the whole day you see nothing except calls, like direct calls. But
Yeah.
before, you can see all those notifications popping up. So that was something I have to do. So from 2023, I moved to the fact, okay, I have to set limit on going on social media and say this is the kind of app I want on my phone and not in my phone and stuff like that. So the conversation is a kind of exercises where
Yeah.
you do like
Yeah.
breaks. As for example, when you are working, when you sit for long days, you have to take maybe 15 break to go and get some water, get some tea, get some coffee, or get some walk. This is the way
Yeah.
I believe it should be with technology. You can say, for example, within 2 hours, after 2 hours, I have to stop, go out, walk a little bit, and return again. This
Mm.
is the way, like, how people should, I believe, set boundaries and have a balance, like, between technology
Yeah.
and their normal life.
Yeah, I think what you said is so instructive and it's so important because the conversation around balance is being able to breathe, like being able to just take a pause. And we're in a generation where it's so scary to take that break. It's so scary to take that pause. The fear
Yeah,
of missing out is real. A lot of times, until you take that pause, until you take that break, you don't realize how refreshing it is.
exactly.
The fear for a lot of people, a lot of times, is that they will miss out on a lot of things for
Mm-hmm.
every break that they take. And that's where the place of structure comes into play. So you're not just taking break randomly, it's intentional. I like the
Mm-hmm.
idea where you spoke about like whether you're doing a 2 hour break, whether you're doing a 30 minutes walk and then taking a break. It's deliberate, it's intentional. You
Yeah.
know how your schedule for the day is. And so you're able to slot in breaks across the works that you're doing. And it's also important to emphasize that when taking break in our dispensation, it's not enough to take just breaks. You have to take screen breaks because a lot of times you
Yes.
switch from your laptop to your phone. And so I like the idea of what you also spoke as an alternative. If you are taking break, do non-tech activities. So whether it's taking a walk, as an example that you gave, whether it's reading a hard copy book as against an e-copy book, I really like that perspective, and it kind of takes me to the second question that I have for you, because in answering this first question, you already spoke a little bit to certain strategies that we could do, whether it's setting boundaries, whether it's taking breaks, and all of that. The second question is, what strategies do you recommend for ensuring that technology remains a tool for productivity? So now we've been able to strike that balance between our tech use and our overall health and well-being. What strategies will you recommend that ensures that technology remains a tool for productivity rather than a source of distraction and stress?
So so I think we should all agree on the fact that we're saying of technology that are coming out now are more a distraction than something that will be making you more productive. So you have to understand that, as you said, and as we, we keep on saying, it has to be intentional. You have to
Mm.
decide and say, firstly, what am I doing with those tools? What's the thing they
Yeah.
are bringing to me? Are they like beneficial to me? Is it something that is a plus to me, or is draining my energy every day? Because someone could say, okay, oh no, it's good to me because I can watch 100 videos on TikTok every day. I can watch 10,000 videos on, or listen to social music on YouTube. But what are you getting from those music? Is it a plus to your career? Is it beneficial for your own life? Is it beneficial for your environment? Are you not finding yourself being alone and sometimes feeling that being with other people is a kind of like a kind of challenge for you? So it
Mm.
has to be intentional. and say, okay, I need to reconnect to the real world, because let's be honest, you are not in the real world sometimes. So you have to reconnect to the real world. The real world means going for a brunch, going for a lunch, going for maybe a picnic, going, as you said, read hard copies, and you have a very wonderful book that I think people should get it. Maybe we talk about it at the end of the conversation. But it has to be very intentional. And also, you have wellness app that are available that you can get on App Store or any other app store, where you list all the things you have to do for the day. Many people like they don't have a list for the day. When they wake up, they go with how the day goes. So they go to Facebook, check how many followers they get, and then check and maybe TikTok, stuff like that. No, it has to be firstly, okay, I have this day, I have 24 hours. I sleep maybe 6 or 8 hours a day, so it remains 60 hours. I work maybe for 8 days, and for 8 hours, sorry. So 8 hours, 8 hours, so it remains between, like, let's say 8 hours left. So how can I make sure that the tools I will use, maybe social media app or any other productivity app, can be a plus to my work and also to my sleep? Because most of the stress that we have today, and that's how Gen Z is actually the generation where you see a lot of suicide, people killing themselves, a lot of depressions, a lot of abandonment, people like in a kind of, this, I won't say fake, but this virtual world where they believe that everything is possible at the same time, and when they come to reality, it's not the case. So you have to understand that there are some limits, and those limits must be set by you. So you work on it in a way that it helps you to move. So you have to disable unnecessary notifications, which I believe are not necessary, and then remove content that would distract you, and allow yourself to focus on priorities that are apps or tools that will definitely productive for you.
Yeah, I think one thing that has stood out for me, and I know that works a lot, is from the first conversation, you spoke about like putting off your notifications. For instance, if you're going to evaluate your productivity, since you've been able to schedule a particular time, let's say from 2 to 4 o'clock as your work time. So you have a research that you're doing, you have a project that you're working on. At that point in time, every non-project related activity, every non-work related activity should be switched off.
Yes.
Your WhatsApp, if you're not using WhatsApp for work, those notifications should be off, because the dangers and the platform for distraction, the platform for stress comes when you are doing productive work or whatever work it is that you're doing, and you don't set that structure of putting off your notification, and then something pops up and it's an Instagram message, and then you're like, let me just check it very quickly, and then before you know it, 2 hours have passed, you're on Instagram, you're not doing the work that you're supposed to do, and then you start feeling anxious, you start feeling overwhelmed, you start feeling stressed because you have a deadline that you're supposed to meet.
Exactly.
I love the idea of breaking down our 24 hours. So there's a principle called time boxing. So it's essentially having a to-do list but in a scheduled format, and it's the idea of clocking your 24 hours of the day. So you know how many hours you used to sleep, you know what the routine is for you, like when you wake up, probably you're doing meditation, you're praying, you're reading a book, you're doing exercise, you know how long it takes, you know when you eat your breakfast, you know probably you need to do some running around and all of that. You're able to time those activities, and then you're able to time for productive work. So that's because one thing that I've learned is if you know what you should be doing, you will know what you should not be doing. The problem with distraction is that you are doing what you shouldn't be doing in the time of what's in the time allocated to what you should be doing. And so one of the things that time boxing and scheduling helps you do is that it helps ensure that your intention is aligned. The basic definition of intention answers the question of your why and your what. So why do I want to do this particular thing? What is that thing that I want to do? Once you're able to define that, there's a principle I teach, it's called the intention and attention management. Once you're able to define your why and your what, the attention management now monitors your how or that you're achieving those things. And so it's super important in evaluating whatever activity that it is that you're doing, even if it's family bonding time. For instance, during family bonding time, what that then means is that you're offering all work related activities because this time is now dedicated to family. For instance, the
Exactly.
concept of the no gadget hangout, we leverage on platforms that do not require technology.
Yeah.
When you were responding to the first question, you made mention of how you've been working all day and then you come back home. Should you really be with technology at that point in time? Now you're with family. Should you really be with technology? You're with friends. Should you really be with technology? You're with non-work related engagement. Should you really
Yeah.
be with technology? You're eating dinner. You're at a picnic. Like, it's just leveraging on platforms that do not require technology. Because again, we're in an
Exactly.
era where there's hardly anything that we want to do that doesn't require one technology or the other. Since we can't, the goal is not to stop using technology. Let's say you're a student, for instance, you're doing your master's online. You need to use technology to be able to attend lectures.
For sure.
We are in a society where our family members are spread across the world. You need to call them, whether FaceTime, whether Zoom, whatever platform it is that you're using. It's technology. The conversation does not tell you to stop using technology.
Yeah.
Since those things have
No.
come to stay, a lot of us are working in the tech space. You're either on your laptop or your phone, on one device or the other. Since the conversation is saying that you need to be on those platforms, how can we begin to leverage on platforms that do not require technology to be able to host holistic conversation, to be able to be fully engaged in the activities that we're involved in? And then coming back to the perspective of stress and perspective of distraction, is just understanding what your intention is, as you
Yeah.
rightly said, and then ensuring that your focus is that. So for every work time, I am not doing social activity. For
Yeah.
every social time, I am not doing work activity. I think
Exactly.
that's amazing. Another question that I have to ask is, how can you explain the significance of taking breaks from technology and how these breaks contribute to our overall wellness and productivity? So it's one thing in theory to understand the need to take break, but in practical, like, what's the significance of taking break from technology and how does this contribute to our wellness? How does it contribute to our productivity?
So we so I think that being always on the screen create fatigue. Like it
Mm,
creates physical strain. Like if you ask anybody that have been 24 hours on 24 hours on the screen, either on laptop, iPad or iPhone or any phone, anything that is screen, even TV, you
yes, back. I think the
yes.
network went for a bit. So please just start all over again.
So sorry. This is the reason why we need to take some breaks and meet in some rooms and
Okay.
have direct
This is
conversation
okay.
because internet can fail us, but human being is always there available to listen
Yeah,
and
yeah,
focus. So, for example, this was a break. So we all have a 30-second break from internet. So we are
yeah,
back. So taking breaks, we should all understand that seeing be always on the screen all the time can cause fatigue, can cause stress,
yeah,
can cause physical strain. So you have data all over on internet, you have statistics, you have studies that have been made. So we should understand that taking those breaks are good. So you have to accept it, not saying, okay, they are forcing me to do it. No, you have to accept it personally and say, hey, I need to have breaks from internet. I need to stop
mm,
this time. Then, so if I stop, why am I stopping it? I'm stopping it because I want to recharge. I want to
mm,
maybe improve my creativity by doing something else. For those working in designs, and personally me, I also do design. When you work for quite a long time on maybe a poster or a flyer or maybe let's say a visual, at, like when you get to a certain point, you need to stop, go and get some fresh air and return and finish the work. You cannot start and end a flyer like from the same time to the end time. It's quite rare to see such things. You need to stop, go out, refresh, see some other things, disconnect from the work you are doing, and return. So breaks helps you to boost your creativity. In my experience,
mm,
for example, working like I work from 9 till 6, sometimes till 8. if I stay on my laptop from 9 till 6 p.m., for example, without standing up and go for a walk, the next day I'm less productive. I'm completely
Yeah.
drained. So I saw it like, and I was noticing it quite times. I said, okay, what should I do? So every 2 hours and a half, I stop, I go out, I sat down, I have a tea, I'm drinking tea, I'm watching the streets, I may be calling my mom, or I may be like talking to my colleagues, so that I'm completely disconnected from everything that is technology. And when I return to my work, I'm productive again. So
Yeah.
I believe the importance of taking breaks is not just a theory that or a concept we are just bringing to the table to say you have to disconnect, you have to disconnect. No, these are things that you need to do, and these are things that will make you more human. Why now people are focusing on technology to have a more human-centered design? Because they want that even when you are learning on Duolingo, for example, or studying or doing your masters or doing anything, the the laptop should help you reconnect with society. If the purpose of technology was not for you to have breaks, the battery wouldn't die. If the battery can die,
Mm,
that means there is a need for you to stop at a given time and go
mm.
and reconnect and let the phone to charge, or the laptop to charge. So those small things that we see on the technologies are there to help us to reconnect with our environment and then improve our focus and also improve our productivity in whatever we are doing. So it's not just a concept, it should be a lifestyle for everyone.
Yeah.
For those that are watching now, or for those that be watching the live after, they have to understand that from technology is from everything that you are doing. Every work you do needs some break for you to recharge, for you to rethink, for you to reprogram yourself and come back more productive and more efficient.
Yeah, so true. I love the example you gave with recharging our devices. I think in the same way that we recharge our devices, it's in the same way that we need to recharge our lives.
Exactly.
So you notice how your battery is going down, and because you don't want the phone to die, you go and plug it in. So it's in the same way that once we begin to feel overwhelmed, so that we do
Mhm.
not end up dying, death doesn't necessarily have to be physical. There are different types of deaths where you are not able to function at any capacity because you have very poor mental health. In some cases, that can translate into mental illness if nothing is done about it. In the same way that you will pause, recharge your device so that it is strengthened to carry the work that you want it to do. This is in the same way that we have to recharge our life so that we have the strength to carry the work that it is that we are supposed to do. I have a bottle of water here. If I hold this now, it's not heavy. If I
Mm.
hold it for the next 3 hours, it will begin to feel heavy. So, but
Exactly.
if I drop it and I pick it up again, it's the what changed wasn't the weight of the bottle, it's the length of time with which I used it. And so, a lot
Exactly.
of times we think that productivity is consistently doing what it is that you're doing. That there's a place for that, but you need to be able to take breaks in between so that your brain is functioning with clarity, so that your
Exactly.
brain isn't overwhelmed. You know how even with our systems and our devices, if you overuse it, it will crash, it will
Exactly.
shut down.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, a lot of us, the process to crashing is so slow a process that we do not see it. And so there are consequences to our actions right now that might affect in the future
Exactly.
because those actions are beginning to affect you slowly and slowly and slowly. It's a basic example is eye strain, for instance.
Yes.
You keep exposing your eye, excessive screen time. You keep doing it, you keep doing it, you keep doing it. Over a period of time, you'll begin to notice that your eye is paining you, you are having
Mm-hmm.
issues with your eye. The same thing with sleep also. You keep using your phone when you should be sleeping. You keep
Mm-hmm.
using your phone in the middle of the night. You notice over a period of time, it becomes difficult for you to fall asleep because the hormone that requires sleep, that aids or activates sleep, actually
Mm-hmm.
requires a dark environment. And that's why you notice with our devices, they have this night mode, they have this gray mode to
Exactly.
try to mimic
Exactly.
nature, the way the night gets dark and all of that. And so it's super important to realize that break doesn't reduce your productivity. It
No.
helps you come out with better outputs.
Exactly.
I like the word you used about recharging. It recharges you and then it aids you it aids and help you boost your productivity. And so don't think about taking breaks as your enemy.
No.
Look at it from the perspective of being refreshed, being
Exactly.
re-energized to be able to do the work that it is that you're doing. And the break doesn't even have to be very extensive. You
No.
can do a 5-minute break
Exactly.
across the work that you're doing. For instance,
Yeah.
there is this app. It's called the Forest app, if I'm not mistaken, the name. So you can set timers for like 25 minutes, for instance. So you work for 25 minutes, you take your break for 5 minutes, and that 5 minutes break is just you walking around, like you're saying, you just chatting a
Exactly.
little bit with your colleagues, and then you come back and you continue with the work that it is that you're
Exactly.
doing.
Exactly.
Breaks are super important, and I don't want us to think about breaks in the context of things that we're not passionate about, because it's very easy to take breaks if you're not enjoying what it is that you're doing. We are talking about even the things that you are enjoying, as exciting as it
Exactly.
is. You know that
So
video game that you're playing, people play video games for like 5-6
I,
hours straight without taking breaks.
even days, people play for days. I know friends that can play for
Days
days
without taking breaks.
without thinking, without eating. They just drink Coke. They're just drinking Coca-Cola every day. They are playing for days. Like for example, personally, I used to do that. I used to study when I was in the US. So from January 2020 till March 2020. No. It was from September 2019. So September, October, November 2019. I was working from 5 a.m. till the next day, 1 a.m. So when I when I stood up, it's just to go take shower, come and sleep, and go back on my laptop. That it was good for me because it helped me get a lot of certificate degree. But when I get to January, rather, like I was dead. So I went to the hospital, they couldn't find any sickness.
Yeah,
The doctor asked me, how many hours did you sleep in a day? I said between 4 and 5. He said you will kill yourself. And
that's
for me to
the
sleep.
challenge.
When
Yeah,
I returned home, it was challenging for me. So every time I was falling sick, my mom knew that it was because I was either on my phone or my laptop. And she knows that even when I'm sick, I will go and study on my laptop. So what
yeah,
she will do, she will carry all
yeah,
my gadgets and go into her room because I can't get access to it without her permission. So she will block all the
yeah,
things. So I will go through my treatment,
yeah,
even though it is for weeks, I will not be connected. So this is something
yeah,
that is real. People are playing with it, but like it can kill you.
yeah,
Like people think like death, like heart attack, all those things that are coming up is because they are eating not good food. No, it's not just not eating good food. It's spending your
yeah,
time all. For example, you sit in the office for 8 hours. You came to work 30 minutes to get to your house. You will take a taxi that will go and drop you right in front of your house because
yeah,
you want to be in the taxi on your phone chatting with your friends.
yeah,
Meanwhile, you can just listen some music and walk
yeah,
without being on your phone. Those things, people like most of the sickness that we are seeing today, cancer, all those things. If I agree, sometimes it's due to the fact that we are not eating healthy. We are not doing too much sport like and training and all those gym stuff. But if you look at it very well, it's because we are spending 23 out of 24 hours of our time on our phone or on our
yeah,
gadgets. So when we get time to go and get time to eat well or to have those things to check, because even when you are online, you're not checking for healthy food. You're not looking for healthy food to go to the market to buy maybe
yeah,
some oranges.
yeah,
It's when you are feeling sick that you go and ask the doctor what are the food that you should eat for you to recover because you
yeah,
want to come back quick in the game of commenting, liking, and chatting. No,
yeah,
you have to have this time the same way you can be disciplined in taking your medicine when you are sick. You should also have
mm,
this discipline to disconnect from your phone because this is a sickness but in delay. Because when the time will come,
yeah,
as you said, for your eyes, the eyes will be connected to your brain. When your brain is not working well, your heart will be attacked. When your heart
yeah,
is not working well, everything in you, your kidneys, everything will be attacked. And at the end
yeah,
of the day, you'll be like, my village people are against me. Or no, you have to check your life, how
yeah,
you balance everything and you give attention
yeah,
to everything. We are not
yeah,
asking you to be far from your phone. No, it is
Yeah.
impossible in our generation. It is impossible.
Yeah.
You're not rich enough to go and build a house in the forest and live there. We are still all struggling to meet our needs and take care of our families. But there is a need for us to take breaks and to understand that taking breaks from technology is not just an advice, it's a life,
Yeah.
it's a life matter.
The
And
lifestyle.
people are
Yeah.
saving your life.
Yeah, so true. You know, health by the World Health Organization is defined as not just the absence of diseases, but also the presence of physical, mental, and social well-being. We are in a dispensation. I believe that when that definition was given, it was before smartphones and technology became what it is today. That definition is no longer complete. You have to include digital well-being also. And so it's
Exactly.
not just the absence of diseases, but the presence of physical, mental, social, and digital well-being.
Yes.
Because if you think about mental health, for instance, the basic definition for mental health is our ability to think, our ability to feel, our ability to respond with life situation circumstances. It's our ability, if you're using World Health Organization's definition, it's our ability to positively contribute to the society, to be able to cope with the normal stresses of life. Now, you will agree with me that the digital space plays a very strong influence in how we
Definitely.
think, in how we
Yes.
feel, in how we react.
Yes.
The digital space plays a very significant influence in how we are able to positively contribute to our society. This conversation that we're having is because we are sane enough that we're able to host this conversation
Exactly.
and positively contribute to our audience and the people that we see it to be able to cope with the normal stresses of life. What happens when somebody gives you a constructive criticism online, for instance? Now, are you able to hold it? Because there's normal stress of life. There
Yes.
is normal stress of life, and then there's stress beyond what you can handle. We are becoming a
Exactly.
generation of people that have become so petty that we can't handle normal stresses of life. We have become a people that very easily cancel people, not because what the people are saying is not true, but because it rubbed on us in a way that we did not like, even though it's the truth of what they are saying. And so it's super important to realize that health is no longer just what happens to us physically. It's not just about, oh, I'm eating right, but I'm not taking my digital time right. It's now all encompassing the way you will take care of yourself physically. Because even if you're talking about physical health, for instance, in the digital space, we're talking about people sitting on their devices for like 2 days,
Yes.
3 days. By the time you stand up, it might be difficult for you to walk because your blood isn't even flowing to
Yes.
a very large extent. There are a lot of issues that are coming up right now that can be linked to certain lifestyle choices,
Yeah.
sedentary lifestyle, for instance, because the more you stay without doing anything, your body, the human nature wasn't designed to just sit in one place. It is supposed to
Exactly.
be active, it's supposed to be functional.
Yes.
And so that's why you see some people do their Zoom meetings on the road, like they are walking and jogging and attending this meeting because you've been sitting all days. You work 9 to 5, for instance, you've had to
Ah.
sit all day, and then you
Yeah.
come back home maybe from 5 to 10 o'clock, and you're on your device, and you're also sitting down all through that period. There are consequences to these actions, and so it's super important that when we talk about breaks, like you said, people should not think about it as, oh, these people are talking theory, oh, these people are talking, and they're just giving certain forms of advice. This is a lifestyle that we must begin to live because there are
Exactly.
consequences to it, and we are seeing it in the lives of
Yes.
people. The next question that I have to ask here says that what role does intentional digital downtime play in fostering creativity? What role does intentional digital downtime play in fostering creativity and enhancing focus in both our personal and professional life?
So I will I will always take from my personal experience. I believe that downtime is crucial. For even though you are a professional or for your personal life, if you can't have break, you can't like have this digital downtime and say, okay, today no phone, nothing, just me and the environment. You remain unbalanced and you remain less creative. Like even how will I say, even the busiest people, when you see the president of nations, you take Barack Obama, you take Trump, you take Biden, you take Putin, you take all our presidents that we have in the world. Most of them, they have what they call recreative activities. It can be fishing, it can be swimming, it can be writing, it can be designing, it can be maybe hunting, but they all have something that they do that has nothing to do with tech. Even if you see Bill Gates or you see Zuckerberg, they like to go to places where there is only forest, there is only nature, there is nothing to do with their phone. People should check, for example, Zuckerberg doesn't post every day. The guy is posting only once, maybe in the year, and it's done. Because he understands that those technologies, they are good, but they also have side effects. So those side effects is that when you don't know how to balance from your life and like your personal life and your professional life, you go through a lot of crises. If you see our generation today, even in the marriages or in our like friendly communication, you can be sitting down with your friend, you guys are came to have a time together. But by the time you see yourself, it's just, hey, how are you? How was your day? Over. You're on your phone. You can be in front of your friend and texting him, sending a message.
Yeah.
You see, oh boy, see that woman. Oh boy, see that. You are just in front of the person, but you can't speak to the person. So how come in the future we have leaders that will stand and speak to the crowd? It's impossible. So if you see why people fail to interviews, going for interviews and then they fail, for example, for job, it's because they are not used to speak to people. If you were used to speak to people, if you have those ability to speak with your family, with your friend at home, when you get in front of the recruiter of someone, you can speak up your ideas. People can speak all their ideas online, but when you come to speak to them, speak. Why? Because they say we are digitalized. Digitalized doesn't take from you your initial knowledge, which is to develop capacities from the natural. So you have to understand that those digital downtime help you to be productive, to be well in your body, in your soul, in your spirit, to have good time, to develop your network. I attended some events where you will see great people, very well-known personality, not giving you their card. They will ask you, do you have a notebook where I can write my personal number and my email? Like you attend events where you think that those high people will maybe give to you their WhatsApp. No, they'll give to you their personal phone number, and you will see their phone is this old phone that doesn't have even like screen to touch. This phone with buttons, because they want to keep reconnected. They want to be always in connection with the environment. So I think the intentional role of digital downtime is help us to maintain balance and allow us to remain on focus, and tasks that need our focus. If this task doesn't need your focus, please don't be on it. There's no need. And you are not competing against anybody. You are free to say today, I want to stop. I don't want to connect today. Nobody will come and take you to jail. You can decide. Nobody will come and run after you or pursue you. This is your own life. Understand? Because social media has taught us that it's a global village. So if you are not in the village, you are against the village. This is fake. There are times you need time for yourself. So you can say, for example, on Sundays. Me, for example, on Saturdays, I don't pick calls except from my family. I don't pick calls before 9. So if you call me before 9, I won't take it. I won't take it. On Sundays, I don't go online and do things before 11 or 12. If you see me there, that means it's very an emergency. I got a special message that I want to share. If not, I go out for my personal work. I work for 1 or 2 hours in the street myself like this, because I want to refresh. The week is coming, so I need to energize myself. So these are small things that people can do and have balance. If for example, I go to my home and I have to see my mom now, no matter how you are, I will put my phone on do not disturb. I want to spend time with my mom. When I'm done, I reconnect. Nobody is running after me. If it is urgent, it can wait. Because I used to tell my friend, the day you die, they will just post your picture in black and white, and they will find someone that will take your place. You are
Yeah.
not indispensable.
Yeah.
They can switch you at any time. You can be shifted, you can be changed, you can be replaced anytime, any moment. So don't
Yeah.
kill yourself with being to the fact I have to know the last trends. I have to keep with the last trend. You can be the trend yourself
Yeah.
sometime.
Yeah.
Let people follow you. Be the trend people should follow. Don't follow all the
Yeah.
time the trend. Sometimes
Yeah.
be the trend. They should ask you, how do you cope with the fact that you are not always online and busy doing all those things? And then you can create a new generation. This is how the generation was created. If people didn't do that before, you and now won't be here talking about it. It's because they did it.
Mm.
We love it. So we took it from them, we're improving it and giving the generation after us. So sometimes you don't have to follow the trend. Be the trend people should follow. And this is how
Yeah.
generations are made.
Don't follow the trend. Be the trend. I'm just writing that down. It's so powerful because I think, and this is where being grounded in who we are is so important because a lot of people are not grounded in who they are. Society is defining their identity for them. And so
Yeah.
it's what is trending that they do. And so one of the challenges that I have on X, formerly Twitter, for instance, is when you are clicking on a hashtag, probably you see something and you want to find out what is going on. And then you open it and the first 20, 30 messages have nothing to do with the hashtag. And so people
Exactly.
just know that since this thing is trending, let me add it to my article so that people will see it. Even though it has nothing
To
to
do.
do with it, we are becoming a generation of people that are losing our identity to what is trending, to what my friends are doing, to what others are doing. And
Yeah.
one thing we fail to realize is that our journeys are different. And so for somebody else, he has not used technology from 9 to 5, for instance, because his work doesn't require any form of technology. Probably he works in the field, he works in the farm, and all of that. And then you work with tech. You've been on your device from 9 to 5, and then you come back and you see your friend that hasn't been with his device pressing his device, and then you're like, oh, me too, I can press my device, not knowing that the journeys are different. And so what you
Exactly.
said is so powerful. Don't so powerful. Don't follow the trend. You have to be the trend, and you have to be comfortable enough in your skin
Exactly.
to be able to stand out. Because the fear of missing out is becoming crazy in our
I'm telling
dispensation.
you.
So it's like I don't want to miss out on what is happening. TikTok is a very classic example. That's a very beautiful platform. There's so much educational content that you can learn there. There's so much engaging content that you can find there. But if you go on TikTok without structure, it will overwhelm you. It will
Yes.
overwhelm you, and you'll be carried away by what is trending, the activities that people are doing, and you forget your mission and begin to follow those patterns. You have to know. That's why we spoke about identity at the beginning. Identity defines your why and your what. What
Exactly.
is it that I want to do? Why is it that I want to do this thing? You're able to define
Exactly.
that template. It forms the kind of platforms that you join. It forms the kind of engagements that you build on those platforms. So let's say you're using your Instagram for business, for instance. Obviously, we need to see you showing up consistently because
Yeah.
that's how you gain client. That's how you gain conversion. But if you're using it for personal use, where you are just updating your friends about things happening in your life, should you be as consistent as somebody that is using it for business? Even in terms of personal information, should you be sharing the kinds of information that you are sharing? What is the intention behind those messages that you are sharing?
Exactly.
Because it's super important. People are beginning to share more than they need to share. And a lot of times it's because it's what is trending. A lot
Exactly.
of times it's because they've seen other people do it. And a lot of times the information that you are sharing could be security risks. You are sharing the address to your house. You are sharing your journey. Oh, I'm about to go to this place. I'm about to board this plane. Oh, I just got paid this amount. That information does the digital space need to know. So
Exactly.
whether you're using your platform for business, whether you're using it for personal use, you have to ask those questions. What is my intention in putting out content? What is
Yeah.
my intention in engaging with content? Because there's a
Exactly.
principle that I teach, it's called feed management. Your intention defines the kinds of people that you follow online. So you don't
Exactly.
just go on your platforms and you're following people random. I never understood this principle on X or formerly Twitter, where people say, follow me, I follow back. Like, What if our journeys are not the same? Like, you followed me because you've seen value in what I have to offer. If
Exactly.
I check your page and it doesn't align with who I am or where I'm going to, I do not necessarily need to follow you. But we're a very emotional people. So it's like, I follow this person, he didn't follow me, but let me unfollow him.
Let me
We are
unfollow
very
him.
emotional. We need to be logical. We need to be logical. We have to have an intention behind every action and inaction that we take. Another thing that is very funny for me is how people will be in the presence of themselves and they are texting each other. Like, you're looking at each other, like, what
Yeah.
happened to your mouth? Like, open up and speak. Like, we have a couple of friends where you've not seen each other for a while. Probably they travel to different cities or they're in school. You guys are schooling in different locations. And then you guys say, let's hang out. You're in the same city and all of you hang out at a particular spot and everybody is pressing their phone. Like, what's that? You're not hanging out. Like, you're missing out on the essence. How can you be with your friends and be gisting with other friends?
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't add up. That's where the principle of scheduling comes into play. Nobody is saying don't gist with your friends that are in the digital space, but have a time where you are focused on those. When you're with your physical friends, like, focus on your physical friends also. Another thing that is important from what you said, and it's one of the reasons why we set up the No Gadget Hangouts as a face-to-face interaction, because we're losing
Yeah.
face-to-face interaction. People no longer even know how to hold FaceTimes, how to know hold this kind of video calls. It's rather chats, it's rather because we are losing the empathy that comes with communication.
Exactly.
We are losing
Exactly.
the structure that comes with communication because all our time, all our engagements have been just through chats, has been just through other forms of conversation. So when they put you in the presence of other people, it becomes very difficult to hold conversations.
Yeah.
You spoke about Gen Z, for instance, and attending interviews. It's very difficult for them to hold conversation, not because they are not intelligent.
No.
They are very smart. They are very sound, but it's a very new terrain to them. They are not used to
They're not.
face-to-face interaction. If you were to have that interview via chat, like, they will ace it, like, they will ace it.
Exactly.
But because it's face-to-face and they are
Face
not
to face.
familiar with it, there's this anxiousness that comes with it. And so we need to return back to those face-to-face conversations. There's a principle that I learned recently, and I've been advocating the principle to a lot of people. There's the idea of press play and the idea of play. We're a generation of people that are just pressing play now. So you're pressing play on Twitter, you're pressing play on
Exactly.
Instagram, you're pressing play on games, on Netflix and all of that. But we need to play old school, like, go out and hang out with your friends, spend time in nature. Spending time in nature is very therapeutic.
Very
People don't
true.
know it. One thing that the Western world does, no matter how busy they are, they make out time for
Exactly.
vacation. They make out time for nature. We think it is luxury. It is not
No.
luxury. Our productivity is tied to our well-being. The
Exactly.
days that you are very well, your productivity is up.
Yes.
The days that you're not feeling too well, your productivity is down. And some of these therapeutic methods or some of these therapeutic medias are nature, are spending quality time with friends, are doing activities that you're passionate about, void of digital distraction.
Yeah.
This is why we are having this conversation. This is why downtimes are important. And again, when setting up downtime, we're not saying that you should reduce your productivity, or when you're supposed to be having a conversation with your mom, or you're supposed to be having a conversation with your boss in the office or your colleague, that's when you say you want to have your downtime. No, you know the schedule of your activities.
Exactly.
Give time to your work. Give time to your entertainment. Give time to your play. But in the same way that you are giving time to all these activities, give time to yourself also.
Yeah.
Void of
I agree.
digital distraction. Have those moments where you're just spending time reflecting with yourself. One of the conversations we had with the last speaker last week was on the power of boredom and how we lose the essence of boredom in the itch of picking our devices. In times where you should be having sober reflection, in times where you should be having creative thinking, you've already picked up your device because it feels weird to spend time with yourself. It's not the way that it's supposed
Yeah.
to be. Downtime is important. Taking break is important. Finding balance between tech use and productivity is important, because at the end of the day, we need to be alive to enjoy all these things that we're doing. What point is it
Exactly.
you spend all the effort and then you are not around to enjoy it, or you are not healthy enough to enjoy all the effort that you've put in? Like you rightly said, you are easily replaceable. If something happens to you at work, they will get somebody else. If something happens in
Yeah.
your circle of friendship, they will feel the pain. They will cry and mourn for a period of time. But new friendships will evolve. We have to be super intentional. We have to be super deliberate in our alone time, in the times
Yes.
that we spend just refreshing, just recharging, just recalibrating, so that when we
Yes.
come back to the world, we are coming back equipped, we are coming back refreshed, we are coming back strong, and we can give the best values to the people that we serve. We can
Exactly.
give the best values to our friends that we share bonds with. I think that is super important. The final question that I want to ask you is about my book. You mentioned it earlier on, the concise guide to online etiquette. I've read it over a period of time, and I just wanted to get your thoughts and your perspective about the book before we bring this conversation to a close.
I will give like a big clap to the book because I read it. I still have it, and I think is like a manual that each person that want to grow, not just on the digital scope, but want to open his mind to see how life can be sometimes balanced, should go through it. Because it's concise, as the book is called, it's concise.
Yeah,
These are practical issues, these are practical tips, these are practical advices that you get for your next step. If you have a mind that is very open, you will not just only apply to the digital scope, but you can apply to any aspect of your life. And that's the book that I think you should not look at the price, just order it, get it, and read it. I can't give you the gist, as people will say, of this book. If not, you won't be go and buy it. You have to go and buy
yeah,
this book, have it, and then get it, and then read it, and also share it around you. Really, thank you for the book. It's really a book that will be always on its time, because even though you
yeah,
get in the next century, that's something that you need to understand for you to evolve in this digital world, because this digital world is full of traps. If you don't understand how you
yeah.
can stand out, and as you said, how you can stand out and remain in this position, you will get back to your vomit. So you have to read this book. I recommend it. The concise book is concise. The book, as it
Yeah.
is called, is concise, and then you need it. Thank you so much for writing this book. Really, it was really, really a pleasure for me to go through it and to have the opportunity to read it in the first place. Really, it's really awesome, and I recommend
Yeah. Thank you
it hundred
so
percent.
so much. Yeah, thank you so much for your kind words about the book. For us in putting together that book, like you said, it's supposed to be a manual, because one of the things I've learned is like the principle of driving, for instance. You have to go to driving school to learn the rules of the road. The reason why it's important is because it's not enough for you to know how to drive. You have to know how to navigate the road when you meet people that do not know how to drive. There's a lot of
Exactly.
things that is outside of your control when you're on the road. It's the same thing with the technological space. It's not enough to be grounded in who you are. It's not enough to have values. You have to also be able to have a structure to be able to accommodate the different people that you find in the digital space, because many things that happen on the internet, many things that happen on social media, many things that happen via technology are going to be outside of your control. How do you remain grounded? How do you stay focused when everybody is doing what you know is not ethically right and you are staying ethically right? How do you remain sound? It's why we put that book together as a very summarized template into navigating the digital space in a way that keeps you sane, in a way
Yeah.
that keeps you
Yeah.
structured. And it's another reason why we set up the No Gadget Hangout as a medium to remind us of what it means to be human. Before
Yes.
technology, we existed. If technology ever stops to exist, we will still exist.
Yes.
Technology can only exist because we exist. Technology
Yes.
doesn't create itself. We are the creators of technology. And one of the things that I've learned from the creation of technology is that our biases influence, our nature influence the kinds of technology that we create. So if you find somebody that is not ethical, the solutions, the tech products that he will create will not be ethical. If you find somebody that is very ethical, if you find somebody that is moral, the tech solutions that he will create will be ethical, will be moral. If you find people that are grounded in who they are, their technology usage will boost their mental health and well-being. If you find people that are not grounded in who they are, technology, you find their technology usage negatively impacting their mental health and well-being. And so technology in itself is not the problem. We, the creator and the users, are to a very large extent the definers of what the problem and the issue
Yeah.
of technology could be. So we created a No Gadget Hangout as a platform to just pause from technology and have these intentional conversations. We created a product that is called the Vivify card game. It's a conversational prompt that we use at the No Gadget Hangout.
Okay.
It aids creative thinking and it aids creative care and organic thinking, because we are no longer thinking for
No.
ourselves, because we are not taking that pause to reflect on life and create and find creative solutions and creative approaches
Yeah.
to the solutions that we are trying to build. And so we created that game as a conversational prompt to be able to host holistic conversation where people are sharing their perspective on why they put off their notification, for instance, why they put on their notification, for instance, why their brand strategy is this way or is that way, and we're able to host honest conversation. There are no right or wrong answers. There are only answers that align with who you are and want to be. For us, the No Gadget Hangout is a medium for people to rediscover themselves. It's a medium for people to pause and refresh. This conversation we've been having about taking breaks and the significance there in the No Gadget Hangout is a platform to be able to accomplish that. And this year, for the first time, we've started expanding the conversation to different locations. So we're having the conversation in 4 cities in Nigeria. We've had it in Abuja, the capital city. We're having it in Lagos next month. We're having it in Kaduna in October. We're having it in Jos in November. We're having it in Nairobi, Kenya in December, and we're already in works to see how we can bring it to Cote d'Ivoire sometime in 2025. Because these conversations are necessary. These conversations are important. People know that technology is becoming a problem for them. People know that phone addiction is becoming a problem for them, but they can't seem to find the strategies or the methods to reduce their screen time. They can't seem to find the strategies. They can't seem to find the methods to overcome it. That's why we have platforms like Doing Healthy Africa. That's why we have platforms like DigiWise. That's why we have you. That's why we have all the amazing digital wellness educators, digital citizenship warriors that are hosting these conversations. And hopefully, collectively, we can bring solutions that help people live digitally well, that help people stay healthy, that help people stay productive while avoiding the associated harm that comes with it. Thank you so much for taking our time to join today's conversation. I've written down so many amazing things that we spoke about. I think one of the last things that you said that I wrote that just stood out for me is don't follow the trend. Be the trend. Like you don't have to follow or do things because everybody is doing it. Like you can set an example that others follow. In the kinds of conversations that we are having, I can see some of the comments on how people are agreeing on some of the things that we're saying, and they probably will go back home and have this conversation with their siblings, have this conversation with their friends. And before you know it, awareness on digital wellness, awareness on mindful technology use is expanding. That's the goal for us with the work that we do. And so we're super excited and we're super grateful for everybody that has joined this conversation. But special thanks for Jane for coming, taking out time and sharing so much wisdom with us today. I really celebrate you, bro. I really appreciate you, brother.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was a privilege. And as you know, always. So everyone that is in Cote d'Ivoire that is online now, 2025, we are having our No Gadget Hangout. We are working on it. So get ready. It will be awesome.
Yeah. So no problem. Do have a lovely evening, everybody. This is recorded, and so we'll be posting it in a while, so you can rewatch it. You can share it with friends. We appreciate you. Thank you, Godwin. Thank you, everybody that is still online. We celebrate you. We'll share these conversations with you. Do have a lovely evening. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye bye.